chance you can do something amazing to feel your passion blazing and shine. Yeah.
Paint with every vision, dance in new directions, explode to new heights in your mind.
I will rise up with you today.
Lift up my voice.
Lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Hello and welcome to AGNT Speaks. I am Erin McCabe, your host. We come to you live every week with a mindful message, spiritual tools, and spiritual practices for you to greet the world as it is in front of you and within you. And I represent your AGNT Leadership Council, which is led by Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. And we are a part of a greater movement of love, a greater movement of new thought. So it is a delight to join together for a conscious conversation every week. If you have not joined us yet, then welcome if this is your first time, and know that you can get up close and personal in the Zoom room. You can find that link on the AGNT.today website or on our Facebook page. So when you're in the Zoom room, the experience is just a little different. You could post questions in the chat room. You can just have a more intimate experience. You can also find these broadcasts later on our Facebook page and on YouTube. So we often have AGNT leaders on our broadcast each week and for this conversation, but we also have the delight of having AGNT friends. And so today we have an incredible friend of AGNT. You will recognize the name. It is Inga Canfield, and you might recognize the last name a lot. Yes, she is married to Chicken Soup for the Soul Man. And they have an incredible energy of love and consciousness that they serve this planet with, that they serve the spirit of light among all of us with. And so when I was reading up on Inga, there were just so many things about her life and about how she lives it, about who she is, that I was just floored by, like one after the other, just going, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. So she supports leaders. They have co-founded an organization where they train and support leaders. She has worked in prisons, hospice, stands up for environmental affairs and creating a positive effect on our environment and stewardship. She is the self-described CEO or Chief Enjoyment Officer of her 20-year marriage to Jack Canfield. And they really have an impact on the planet. I can tell together and as individuals. So I am just so grateful that you're here. You are also a practicing Buddhist, and you serve at your meditation center in Santa Barbara and are part of that practice and that consciousness of grounding Buddhism that really, I think, just creates, even in unity, even in religious science or centers for spiritual living, in New Thought, it creates that underbelly of a grounded, rooted practice. Like it teaches the world meditation, mindfulness, and awareness. And I really think that any religion that is void of that, it doesn't go as deep as it can. I think the mystics in all spiritual traditions have that undertone and that practice. So I thank you for who you are on the planet, woman. I think you're pretty incredible. I had the delight to get to hear your daughter sing for us one time when we were in Santa Barbara. And she got out her guitar and played us a song, and it was just delightful. And I also saw that you have an incredible relationship with your grandson who lives in New York, and you read him FaceTime stories at night. And that just touched my heart. I have a little one that's 3, and we do that, and we just cherish those people in our lives that still connect with that relationship. Oh, babushka. Oh my goodness. Yes.
I know. So many of us are grandparents, and we're so proud and happy, and it's such a cherished, talk about gratitude.
Yes. Isn't it such a gift that you can still really have that connection, and it can be so real, even through Zoom? I mean, I remember when phone calls, like I racked up $100 bills for calling my boyfriend in college on the phone. And now we can just, they recognize your face, and it's a real connection. It's full.
before I say something, I just want to thank you. That was such a, I mean, my heart is like, it's sort of like skipping some beats. It's going so, I'm just feeling an incredible amount of love coming in my direction. And I can feel people that I love. And even though I've never met you, I know I love you.
I love you.
So I'm super grateful to be here. And that's a lot in part because of Barbara Fields, who's one of my dearest friends. And she's such a beautiful, angelic, but don't F with her person on the planet. She is.
That's right.
She gets it. She gets it done. She's
Yes.
deep and rich and lovely. And so I'm super grateful to be here. But I just, I want to respond to that, the FaceTime part of this last 2 years, and really about 4 nights a week, an hour and a half. I mean, we do everything together. We don't read, we play soccer, we do drumming, we count money and organize things, we redo his room. It doesn't matter. Some nights we just list all the things we could do, but we don't do anything. And then he always ends with singing to me. I go, okay, time for you to sing. And I know he's really active. So I know that the toning is really good for him. It helps him settle and turn the light off, and I tuck him in. And it's like, it's one of my, but what's helped me. So my teacher, spiritual teacher, Dawa Tarchin Phillips, who is the resident teacher of the Santa Barbara Bodhi Path, that I facilitate meditation. I'm the president of the board. I adore, all my teachings and my groundedness, like you said, and my structure comes from this beautiful man who has delivered these teachings in a really accessible and with so much humanity and compassion. I love this man so much. They just had a daughter. I mean, a daughter. Why did I say that? They're a son. So I've only met him. They're neighbors, but we just got back from Costa Rica, so I haven't met him in person. The little nugget. But I had 30 minutes on FaceTime. And I'm telling you, I was introducing myself as a grandmother figure for him. I would never leave him. All the qualities that I already loved about this baby. And his eyeball, he was in his little daddy's chest, like turned sideways, and it's like it telescoped into the thing. And I felt like we just bonded. It was, I mean, I was crying hysterically. I'm a little
like you had that moment from Avatar when the animal and the being come together and they do that bonding and they fuse.
It makes me cry because it's been a whole week and I don't get to touch him yet. But the fact that we have this this way to connect. And I have so much practice now being, with my grandson, that I could connect in that way. It was a really like we made our, because it's so important. I feel like right when they come in, all my nieces and nephews, my grandnieces and nephews, I've been there from when they were born. I've seen the different qualities of the newborn babies. They're all very unique and special. And Ozzy, my grandson, that's now 8, he has. When he was born, and I spent the first week with him, like the quality of his being is so, like, you could feel the old soul. He really is an old soul. And it sounds like you have grandchildren.
I have a 3-year-old actually.
You have a 3-year-old, but I can feel the grandmother in you already. Like,
yeah, I have a 3-year-old, and it just is magical. She's amazing. And I hear what you're saying about the video time too. I think it's a skill to develop. Like you said, you've had this time of practice, because you can tell when there isn't the practice, because it doesn't always catch. But when you can make it interactive and really dive into it and treat it like you're in the same living room and you're here together and the full attention is on each other, it is an incredible experience.
It's really, I mean, it felt this. I couldn't tell you the quality of holding that brand new baby versus. And almost when I'm with Ozzy, now back to my 8-year-old who has spent 3 weeks with me this summer, it was almost awkward when it took a hot minute to like he's like walking around. He's like, I don't really have anything to say. I go, really? So okay. Neither do I. I was like, we got in the jacuzzi and we're like, weird. Like we had to readjust all day together. Right. Within 24 hours, like every day was like this routine of all the things that you do with your.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Right. Like start out in different rooms and get on the phone and FaceTime and then start walking towards the living room together. No.
Yeah, and their parents are always trying to steal. They go, give me it. They kind of, I mean, I really feel loved by this family. I feel like so gratitude to be included
Yes.
in a family, to be so
Oh,
loved, as, you know, along with the nature that is greeting me every morning, and the ability to just say thank you, like starts the engine in my heart, and like moves me into the day being the very best person. I just want to be the very best person and deliver the qualities that are inherent, that are mine to give every day. Like my husband calls me a day maker. I mean, I just do small things, you know, but every day until I'm hungry, tired, or grouchy. And then it's like, okay, now I don't like anybody and I need to get away. And then I just go and, you know, recharge myself. But I feel really privileged and blessed to be able to just to really not be in a survival mode. I mean, I'm really aware that I have all that, and you know, I don't want to. I just want to be the very best person with that every day. Unpack that. So
yeah, that's beautiful.
could have
And
been.
you know, it's so important too, because we can get caught up, right? There are a million things that can grab our attention and take us to different places. And we have the opportunity every day and every moment to prioritize what's important. And that's our presence, and showing up with presence and sharing who we are and the gift, and allowing that gratitude.
My on our property, we have, you know, we have a fairly good sized home that now is occupied by my 27-year-old daughter, is in what for the last year. A friend who was a house sitter and dear friend, she's been living with us for 2 years and she helps so much. And my ex-husband, who is transitioned, is a woman, living as a woman, lives in down in, we have a barn, and she's been living there. And it's like I can feel that you know, I'm remarried, the father of my children now. You know, there's been a lot of transition and change, and it's so sweet. We've reestablished a parenting connection. We kind of lost it for a while because of, you know, stuff that happens.
Yeah.
But now my son is having a baby. They're having a baby in the next month. So we have like come together, and I feel that it's healed my kids. It's like done something to their hearts to have their parents on the same property,
Wow.
having
Yeah.
real loving conversations, and preparing to be grandmothers together.
Oh, wow.
So I went through a
Yeah.
little thing like, hey, that's my area. You know, I'm like almost treating Jen, her name is Jen, the father of my children, treating her like a caricature. Like I had to like redo my brain to like see the beauty of this woman.
Yes.
I love this woman, and this woman is she's so ready to be a grandmother, and I'm so ready to share that experience with her and support her and really see her wisdom to fight that hard to be a woman. You are truly, that's the heart of Jen. I don't know why I'm speaking about that right now, but it's because you said presence. And I just spent some time with her yesterday, and she said, she goes, you're so present. She says, there's so many people I talk to and they're everywhere, they're somewhere else, but when I'm with you, you're just right here. And I just grabbed her and hugged her, and I just said, whenever I'm really appreciated, like for the things that matter to me, like presence, I'm so deeply touched, and I feel seen, and I feel loved, and I feel like I matter, and I just felt a lot of gratitude to be just appreciated. Just like,
Yeah.
I think nature, like I call myself the chief enjoyment officer, because I feel like there's nature everywhere that's just wanting to be appreciated. I think of nature as you or me. And even as a little girl, I thought nature was God. Nature was my God.
Yes.
Even though I'm like,
I think it still is mine.
right. We just did a week-long workshop in Costa Rica, and it was a really deep personal growth workshop. It was very hard to leave the property after 2 years, but I noticed when I got to Costa Rica that I wasn't feeling very much gratitude. I was feeling exhausted, and if I were a landscape of grass, it was like some of my grass had died, and I'm like, I just want, Jack's students were there. I'm like, I don't want to see students. I just want time with Jack. I was super grumpy and tired, and wasn't liking myself. And then, the workshop happened. It was super intense, and I got in touch with how I had all the distortions that had sort of built up. It's like needing to go get your car serviced. Like I was way overdue for service, and the way I could see was I had no gratitude. Like I'm like, I could fake it, but I was like, ooh, something's off. And then I went through it, and I could see how I hadn't been honoring Jen, how I was like trying to push her out of the way, and like I'm the grandmother, like, ooh, and that was hard to look at. And my daughter, how I wasn't really appreciating her essence, and the woman who lives with us, I wasn't acknowledging all her help. I was kind of getting like a little stingy, a little shut down, a little packed up. And as I went through those difficult, looking into how I'd been, that's the way through to the freedom of my true self, which is really loving and able to see the essence of the people I love. And I came home with so much, like completely restored and full of gratitude. So you're getting me all like, I'm all fresh. I've been waxed and cleaned, and my oil's changed, and even probably my transmission fluid this time was, maybe my brakes were like, so I'm in a really good space. And I was in a very, Jack works so much, my husband, who's like, he's a global presence, and living with somebody that high, that much stimulus is very exhausting to live with. And sometimes I just can't do this anymore. I feel overworked by the amount of work, and I missed him. I want him. So I'm like restored in that way too, where it's not a competition between me and his work. I am rightfully right next to the husband I love. I have an equal value. I feel like my competence is here, and I'm reset where I was struggling again. I go through periods where it's challenging.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I hear you expressing, you are like a demonstration of our topic of conversation today, which is gratitude. And from what I'm hearing, you're really painting a beautiful picture of the depth of gratitude. A lot of times we feel like it's superficial. I could fake it, or I could make a list, or I could this, but I'm just not feeling it. And if we unpack that, we're talking about the practice of giving attention to ourselves, noticing when we need attention, noticing when we need to be seen and honored, whether that's externally or internally. And we know that starts with us. And then breathing into presence and allowing everything else to just become unimportant, to melt away, and allowing presence just to rise to the surface in the moment, in our being, in our relationships, in our emotions, just inviting in and allowing presence. And then just expanding the spaciousness that we have, and allowing that kind of internal practice of just full self-acceptance of where we are, but also willingness to be flexible, to change. Like you have shared a lot that, you might not be conscious of how much you just shared as far as this, but what I hear is a woman of flexibility and open-heartedness. Like you're willing to rearrange your expectations, your thoughts, your experience, your perspective, your everything. It's like you lift it up so that it can shift and be malleable, so you can be delivered into the experience and the vision and the perspective that just brings together that awareness, the presence, the gratitude. And gratitude is the result of that. Like when you do that practice, You don't have to like pull in gratitude, like, dang it, I got to be grateful because it's important. And I know this, you know, especially in like New Thought and in these practices, we know how powerful gratitude is. But this is like an authentic rolling into it. This is like the behind the scenes work and the behind the scenes practice of really being delivered into a state that the result is gratitude. Because there's so many places where you could have not had flexibility, where you could have not had open-hearted, where you could have held your side of the rope or stood your ground, or thought that something could be taken away from you. You know,
I've done plenty of that too. Plenty of that.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's amazing, right? The practice is amazing that when we show up, when we invite in presence, when we open and realize our flexibility, and when we open our awareness, what can unfold, and how authentic gratitude is just, I don't know, for me, we can be delivered there. And for me, that's been one of my gifts of the gratitude practice. I haven't been so connected to the other ones where you have to kind of force feed it. That never really worked for my brain. I couldn't trick my brain enough to get there. It's like, I couldn't trick it enough, but I can look at the trees. I can look at the earth. I can look at the beauty of a baby. Like I can look at a baby. I can look at someone else's baby. I can look at my baby. And I can look at the fact that I know when you tell me about grandmothering, and when you tell me that, like, when you get tears in your eyes talking about the gift to be invited into someone else's family, my tears can meet your tears, because I think of the people that have offered that to my family. And like, if you offer that to everyone that's with us today, if you offer that to another human, to another woman, to another family on the planet, that gift is immeasurable. Like, that gift is, there is like no,
Nothing more valuable. Really, nothing. And it's such an inner choice. Each person, no matter your circumstances. God, I feel like I went like the sound changed and it went like quiet. I'm like, what just happened? I don't know. Do you ever have that? Like your ears change a frequency and they're like, sorry. Each day, like for about 6 months after, I think all of us, some people, it's like this fatigue of where are we? We're just not heading out of this. And then the polarization and
yes.
the energy is, it's just been, there's a lot of fight in the air, and I'm an empath. I feel that. And I would wake up and instead of feeling gratitude, I'd feel like this weird, like depression and like, and I go, oh, shoot, that's here. And but I managed to, I have that cup of coffee. I live for that. I mean, I drink 1 cup of coffee a day with my turmeric, ginger, ghee, and cinnamon from when Jack and I spent a month in India getting a cleanse, like the exact month of February of 2020. Came home and got locked down, and then continued eating that way, and that's what came out of it. That particular drink. But getting out in nature every day. Always I could find my way back, and I don't have depression anymore. I used to have a lot of depression, and it's in our family. It's like, my kid, everybody struggles with it.
Yes.
And I don't have, now I have the tools, because I'm a grower. I have to grow. And, my dad committed suicide when I was 8. And now I see it as like this catalyst, this gift that helped me, it forced me to choose, it forced my hand. I feel like all these rough things that we go through, they really help you find your true self. And I do feel like that experience was such a gift in my life when I grow. I was just like a springboard to choosing this life. And there's so many times when I didn't choose to be with a public man or a thing. I mean, it sounds really spoiled almost. I feel almost embarrassed saying it, but I fell in love with Jack, and he came with all that I wasn't prepared for. I wasn't mature. Yeah. I had to fight my way because I felt so insecure and like ill-equipped. And what's my value? I don't bring anything. He's so amazing. Everyone loves him. We'll get all, and now 20 we've been together 24 years, I feel like I've grown up and I've become the woman I'm proud to be. And I'm so grateful to him. And but life just, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be gristy and worky, and then the appreciation and the gratitude and the, like, it's earned and it's beloved. And every day I do know through the teachings, the Buddhist teachings, that the temporariness of this life and that we get to be here. So we're so lucky and blessed to have a life, not to squander it. And everything that's good about me being a day maker, that's my superpower. And so using it and feeling so blessed to have a gift. I mean, I never thought that was really a gift, or building community. I didn't think like, oh, I love doing that, so I don't really have one. I don't have, I really didn't see my value for a long, long time. So now I'm 64 and I really am on the course of, now it's like, oh my gosh, I just want to stay healthy, feed myself really good food, take my supplements, take care of myself so that I can be in that vibrancy and I can just radiate that I'm supposed to be. Like, now that I really get who I'm supposed to be. And there's no end to the growing or where I could go with it. So.
And you are, it is so like crazy, incredibly clear that you are, like, who you are just radiates from you, like, period. Like, your authenticity, your vulnerability, your spirit, your like the day maker. I could just you.
This wasn't supposed to be a call where you're doing this, but
I know. Well, I wasn't. I don't. We're just talking. Right? We're just talking. I don't know how we got here, but
I'm sorry.
You know what? It's because we're two, like, just authentic, vulnerable people. Like, I think we're here. We're here.
Well, I do know that people they crave real conversation.
Yeah.
It moves somewhere. It's not in the past, but it's in, like, how we can, it's like looking at the hard things, but taking responsibility and transforming them inside. We do have the power to free ourselves from all that suffering. And I know there's so many people stuck in kind of the complaining and the blaming, and gratitude is one of the ways, like, rampage. Jack teaches that rampage of gratitude, like, go out and just rampage gratitude, like, go out and you grade all the things, the pencil, the pen, the everything. Just, and he said people come back. He just did a 5-day, like, huge, like, Zoom event. And he said people were just in tears, and their break for 20 minutes, they had to go out and do that. And then my niece, who's staying here right now, she has 3 young children, and every day they do the yays and the yucks. And that is so cute. Like, what was, so what they're grateful for, and the hard thing that happened. This is one of the yucks of her little 3-year-old youngest son. He said, whatever his yay was, but his yuck was that he'd been praying for his grandpa to get better. He has terminal cancer, and God hasn't answered the prayer. That was his yuck. But every single day, this little boy prays for his grandpa. And
beautiful. That's intense and beautiful. And the piece of the practice of, like, honoring suffering, not that things that are really hard are good, but it's like what you shared about your father, that's like squeezing the good out of it, like putting your foot down and going, I'm not going to just let this be nothing or prosper negativity in my life. I am going to get the good out of this, and I am going to learn myself. I am going to learn my mind. I am going to learn my being, and I am going to seize the opportunity here. I'm going to seize something from this, because I know what you're talking about. We have a history of suicide in my family and a history of depression, a lot of depression. And I feel the same way. I feel like it's been a long journey and a long road, but somehow through the practice and the deeper side of gratitude, I have learned to unfold the gifts and to be present to myself in another way, like to have a commitment not to abandon myself. And, part of that commitment is that when we have suffering, we don't just let it be negative. We recognize that there can be a gift and we call it forth. We start becoming it.
That workshop I just did, I had to go through all the ways that my trust was violated. But when I went way back to the little girl, when my dad committed suicide and my mother was kind of checked out, I abandoned myself. And all these violations occurred when I wasn't there. And I was nothing, the little girl, she's not, but I had to, when I forgave myself, and then it's like this soul merging, a really visceral experience of coming back into myself and then forgiving myself. And like, but I had to go through, see clearly those things did happen. And that was so healing. It healed my heart.
Yeah.
It's like 10:30. Barbara gave me this. I just thought that is appropriate.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's true. It's true. So I really know and I trust that this has blessed people today. I hear so much of what you're saying, and I think this can be a gift to people that, you know, the ego and the suffering mind will say, but my stuff is so bad it can't be healed, or my stuff is so bad I can't get better. I've experienced this for so long, I can't get out of it. And my healing was similar to yours in recognizing that when I was suffering, I abandoned myself. I abandoned myself, but I also had this soul cry for like reaching out, like, someone help me, someone save me, someone. And or when I felt abandoned, right, then it would just get worse and worse. And then it was all of a sudden, you know, this moment of realization of you're abandoning yourself when you need you the most. And then really having a deep, like, heart connection with myself. And like you said, bringing myself back in and going, I promise not to do that again. And once that experience happened, it was never the same. It's never been the same since.
Right.
So I
Thank
hope
you.
that our conversation is a gift to people today. I hope that for anyone that hears about a gratitude practice and thinks, well, that's fine and that's nice, but you don't know my history, or you don't know the things I've been through, or you don't know my mind. It has the power to heal.
You're welcome, Loretta. She wrote, like, that's really sweet. Thank you. I know that, yeah, chats, I don't always write into them because I'm just,
Yes.
but I appreciate that so much. I really do. And it's really nice spending time with you, Erin.
Oh, Inga, it was so nice spending time with you. I really thank you for being here with us today. I thank you for who you are on the planet, and I see you and I bless you. And thank you for this moment of presence with me.
Thank you. It's very honored to be asked. Thank you.
And we thank Barbara. She is the rolling thunder behind everything. If you don't know this woman, Barbara Fields, behind that AGNT logo, she is a force to be reckoned with. She is beauty and light and an amazing woman of power and presence. Thank you all for being with us here for AGNT Speaks. We'll see you next week, and have a great day.
Thank you.